to order. We just have the minutes. Eddie Robertson, Ward 6 Alderman, is not going to be here this evening. So we'll just let everybody know we've got it. We'll just go on to the minutes of the meeting. I need a motion.
Yes, I move to pass the minutes.
Okay, hold on just a second.
Are we recording?
This is the TV. No, it's not being recorded yet. Okay. Again, we're going to call the meeting to order. One of our aldermen, our vice chairman, Ward 6 Alderman Eddie Roberts, is not here tonight. We wish him safe journey and a quick comeback and safely come back. We've got the minutes to go over, and I need a motion.
I move to approve minutes from August 24th, 2021.
Yeah, there's also on here number 2, the acceptance of agenda. If there's no issue, I'm going to just waive that. You have an issue with that?
No.
Okay. We'll go ahead with the approval. There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. Is everybody ready to vote? All in favor of the minutes of August 24th, signify by saying aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Okay, we are on to the ordinances and resolution.
I'm here for the next 3 hours if you want to put me at the end. It's up to y'all.
Okay. Yeah, we've got these. We can run through these. Then we've got our constituents in Hendersonville.
Okay.
I guess you all have an issue that you need to be heard.
Yes, sir.
All right. And so we'll go ahead with the ordinance 2021 41, appropriate funds for the improvements to Big Station Camp Keep Creek Boulevard.
Okay.
Mayor, if you would like to enlighten us.
Sure. So I've heard from all the entities, Rogers Group, Southeastern Builders, City of Gallatin, Sumner County, about the idea that I proposed, and that was that Rogers Group, that Southeastern repair the road that used to be inside the city of Hendersonville, and that the other 4 entities reimburse them 12.5%. So essentially Southeastern will get half the road paid for if they do it. I think the deadline was November. Obviously I'm flexible, but the point of that is to get it done before winter and to fix that road. It's been positive so far. So what I feel like the next step is that we appropriate the money. We would not move them. We would not pay for the money unless all these items are met. And we also would be showing the other entities that we're serious about this. We're moving forward. We hope that they would move forward as well. The maximum we would spend is $35,000.
Fair enough. Any discussion?
No, I'm glad all the other entities are on board with this.
Nobody else has passed anything yet, but they are preparing what they need to pass it. So
They're just going through the process like we are.
Exactly.
All right. Well, most of us have known about that for a long time. I'm glad that everybody, and I thank you for all your hard work on that, trying to get that done, Mayor. And I know the people out there at Station Camp, Big Station Camp, will be happy about it too, because that's something that we all get calls on.
Yep. Rogers Group has some reluctance just because the way that Southeastern hires somebody else to do the work, but I still think there's a possibility that Rogers Group may come on board, just depending on how Southeastern goes forward.
Okay, well, anything we can do to try to expedite.
Do we have any bids on the project yet?
We won't manage it. We won't bid it. It'll all be Southeastern. They'll handle it.
Okay.
They do have to meet Gallatin specs, and that's going to be Gallatin's responsibility, because Gallatin, we anticipate from Gallatin's own words a couple of years ago that Gallatin will annex it.
Yeah.
And which budget does our 35,000 portion come from?
We would take it from the general fund and add it to, well, should we add it to repaving, or should we add it to, what should we add it to? It's not really going to repaving because it's.
No.
I don't know if that just comes out of general. fund.
Just come out of general fund, special projects.
Yeah, I guess because that is, would be considered, wouldn't you think it is? I would. Would you think that too?
Absolutely.
I forgot, I should turn you
No,
over.
no
I'm sorry.
worries.
You weren't on the TV, so I didn't.
That's intentional.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion on this project?
I don't have any.
Yeah, this is a fairly old one that we've been hemming and hawing about as a city, and the jurisdictional issue with that. And I'm just really glad we finally have hopefully a resolve on it. I don't know, but I think that it would be to show them that we're serious about it, as the mayor said. Ordinance 2021 41, I need a motion.
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve ordinance appropriating funds for improvements to Big Station Camp Boulevard.
All right, and I second that.
One more item, it is on the
yes.
agenda tonight in front of the board. We have discussed it before. If somebody has a hard time with us actually approving the text here and then the same night going to the board, I'm fine withdrawing it. I felt like it was okay to put on that agenda since we have discussed it, even though we haven't approved this specific text.
Okay, well, yeah, and I don't know if there might be somebody up there that might be, but we all know what there's, I don't see any issue with it from the others, but there may be, and that's fine. You're elected just like we are. Ordinance 2021-41. Does anybody, there's been a proper motion and a proper second to the motion. Is there any other further discussion on this one? Hearing none, is everybody ready to vote? All in favor of ordinance 2021-41, an ordinance appropriating the funds for the improvements of Big Station Camp Boulevard, and the money is 35,000. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes unanimously. On to resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement regarding the Resource Authority of Sumner County. I need a motion first to approve, and then we'll go into discussion.
I so move.
And a second. Okay, discussion. Go ahead.
So I heard the presentation last week from Jim Young, one of our representatives from the city of Henderson, one of our two representatives from the city of Hendersonville on the Resource Authority Board of Resource Authority of Sumner County. We are not going to impact our capabilities to borrow. We would only be out money if the Resource Authority default can't meet the payments and runs out of money in the bank. And currently the Resource Authority has approximately $4 million in the bank. The total cost, the total amount of the borrowing, Robert, 13 million approximately.
Just a hair over 13.
Okay. And at most, we'd be responsible for 2 sevens. We anticipate that would never, ever happen. The Resource Authority has the opportunity to raise fees, and certainly we will do that. But if there's ever a time that the city of Hendersonville wants to take our residential trash to the Resource Authority in Gallatin, they've got to expand. This amount allows them to expand. And you might want to add something more specifics on the borrowing, Robert.
I just wanted clarification. How much is 2/7 of 13.2 million?
The exact number, I'll tell you right now, but
For the audience that's keeping up at home.
that little tiny calculator isn't going to get it, so I will give you a more formal version here.
City of Gallatin
is-
and the county also, we anticipate they're going to do the same thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
That is $3,785,000.
And we anticipate never making a payment toward that. Resource Authority is expected to make all those payments.
I would think that we would be, I mean, the city to me would be foolish if we didn't take advantage of this. That's just my only thing on it. Is that on the agenda tonight? I couldn't remember.
Same thing as what I mentioned before. It is on the agenda. The Finance Committee discussed it 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
We also had it in front of the board. We did not have this text of the agreement in front of us. However, I felt safe that we could take to the board. If somebody has an objection, I'll withdraw.
Okay, that's fine. All right, we're moving fairly quickly tonight.
I think this is a smart move as we move forward as a city to have an option of where to take waste. And I think this is a cost saving measure as well. Is that correct?
It is.
Do we have those numbers?
We don't, because they're set every year by the Resource Authority. The discount is, it's significant when you talk about tons and tons of traffic, excuse me, of trash. But we get that discount regardless of whether or not we participate in this agreement. But if we wanted to, if we want the Resource Authority to expand and have that as a long-term option, they need to borrow money.
All right. Any further discussion on this? This would help our trash people immensely,
Definitely.
because one of their problems that they've had, which, at first, I was like, that just, that's just one of those things, but actually it is, because by the time they get down to Nashville and then get back here, they're half their day's gone. I mean, really. So hopefully this might relieve some of that. Will this affect anything about recycling for Hendersonville?
We can still recycle separately. They have a recycling drop off areas. Actually, a couple different areas there. And they'll continue to do that.
All right,
It actually, I take it back, it will, because once they have shorter lines, 2.5 years from now,
Yeah.
it'll certainly help people to drop off there.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on this? Do you have any issue with it or anything at all?
No.
Robert, how about you, buddy?
No, sir. I think it's worth noting that our, in the language here, our 2/7, that's also our ownership, so it would never be more than 2/7 either.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, hearing none, is everybody ready to vote on resolution 2021-48? There's been a motion, a proper second. All in favor of resolution 2021-48, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement regarding the Resource Authority of Sumner County, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, it passes unanimously. Okay, that's all the voting that we have tonight. We've got other agenda items. There's the discussion, and then we'll get to you guys.
Okay.
Discussion on the funds update, paving funds update.
Robert, think we're doing it?
Yes. So last time we discussed the paving funds from this last fiscal year. We did zero out the supplemental paving funds, so there was nothing left to flush the general fund or to carry over. We did have approximately 91,000 left in State Street aid, which is, that does not get put back into the general fund,
Right.
but we also don't zero that completely out. Additionally, for reference, as far as maintenance and asphalt repair, we did put in 150,000 for maintenance for this fiscal year, so we will have that available to use as well for small asphalt repair or pothole filling. And then so far, we've only received invoices for 3 of the roads that we've paved this fiscal year, but so far we are approximately $50,000 under budget. So that is good.
Well, that's excellent. That's good news. I always like to hear that we are. under budget.
Absolutely.
That's one thing that I've always prided myself as an alderman and this committee and Public Works Department coming in under budget. And I think probably in the 20, I'm not going to say 30, but 20 something years I've been in, we've normally come under budget, Public Works. I think there's only one project that I can recall that we did not come in. We went over budget, and I was very disappointed in that. But hey, ifs and buts for candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas with me. All right, well, that's good news on the paving. Any questions or comments on the?
I had
paving?
a follow-up. Were you going to start requesting proposals for pothole repair? How is that going?
It's going good. Actually, I've been in contact with a gentleman that I know with Metro, and he's actually working on a very similar RFP. And so we've been coordinating back and forth. We should be advertising that before our next meeting.
Okay,
That's great.
thank you.
Okay. Fantastic. And the next one, is the world famous light synchronization update.
Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot new to report since last time we submitted it. I have requested update. There was a request for clarification, which I provided that same day. I did hear back on my request from update since this was printed, but it's still under review.
Okay.
There's no
And that's
staff.
at the state, correct?
Yes, that's what we got.
All right. Any questions on that?
No. Thank you for following up with the state.
Let's take voice. Sorry. Lee.
They're pretty tough. Okay, our trash collection update.
Yes, so we did have a pretty good spike around the holiday, which was to be expected. We did provide quite a bit of communication about what could be expected, but there were some misses, and part of that spike was also related to, we had advertised that we would be a day delayed. What happened was they actually got a little ahead of schedule for once, but they got a little ahead of schedule and picked up some of the other streets, and people were not prepared, didn't have their trash out.
Oh, so they were
So-
expecting it to be a day late.
But they did get back and picked it up. And I would like to note also that what we show for total misses for the month is not truly representative of contractual misses. And what we are going to be doing over this next month is tracking on our own outside of their software misses, because there's a time frame related to that. And we haven't been capturing that. And so what's shown here is actually quite a bit higher than what's actually considered a contractual
okay.
miss. Just wanted to highlight that because it's shown.
Are you gonna be here for tonight? Yeah.
I wasn't, but I can.
Okay, no, I was just, if somebody said anything, I don't know, I don't think they would, but we would relay it, but
Sure.
I'll take care of that. It's no big deal. I was just gonna say, if you were to be prepared for that, but
Sure.
don't worry about it if you're not. There's no
Okay.
sense in that. And then our leaf bag collection update, which is coming up. Oh, no.
Yes, that is, yes,
Coming up. Leaves will be turning and falling.
quickly. So I did just note here that Trace has provided some information for what it takes for his crews. So he uses 2 crews, 16 employees for 1 full day for leaf bag collection. The second day, it's typically just 1 crew, which is 8 employees to collect those. And then I investigated, I saw that we had in our records an RFP that had gone out for leaf bag collection,
Mhm.
and that was in 2019. And we did not receive any proposals through that effort. And so one of the things we were considering, is there another vendor in the area that we could consider aside from Waste Pro, or, but it's unlikely that there is because of that situation. We have requested a quote from Waste Pro to collect those with regular trash routes, and I haven't received that quote quite yet. But when we receive that, I'll bring it back to this committee and we can.
All right, so the teams are gonna be what, how many does he have this?
16 employees for the first day, Monday typically, and then 8 employees for the second. And then I also did want to note for the committee that the landfill for yard waste, that will now be closed during the week, starting the 1st of October, and it will be open on Saturdays only.
I'm sure you've done this. Make sure to update the website.
Yes, sir.
And we're still requesting paper bags, correct?
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion on any of the things that we've discussed so far under discussion? One more, so y'all be ready. One more, we have New Shackle Island Road and Drake's Creek Road intersection. Oh, yeah, I do remember that. All right.
Okay, so this is a location that has been on the books for a little while for the city. We've been looking at it. It technically is not a city intersection. It's a state route and a county road. So it was identified through the last budget cycle that a lot of city traffic, of course, uses this roadway. And so through that budget cycle, there's approximately 400,000 that was put in the budget to improve this location. After a little further discussion with the county, they have a project in the transportation improvement plan, the TIP, for this location. It's approximately $500,000. And so there's been a discussion that maybe the city could have this project pushed back over to Sumner County, have them manage the project, and then the city work cooperatively with them and possibly have some cost sharing to move the project forward. They don't currently have anything in their budget for their 20% match. So that would be one opportunity. This is a location that TDOT looked at recently and identified that was warranted for a traffic signal. And then also a southbound left turn lane on New Shackle to turn onto Aldrich's Creek. And then our intention when we were discussing was to also provide turn lane on Aldrich's Creek onto New Shackle. So that is the purpose for the discussion. The mayor wanted the committee to hear this before we have a discussion with the county and the state, I believe.
Okay, Mayor, do you have anything to say at this?
Yeah, I appreciate that. On October 6th, staff and I and Eddie Roberts are going to meet with the county to get some information from them as far as how far they're willing to go. We're not obligating the city for anything. We're just trying to get some information from them to see what their participation would be. That last paragraph of the memo that Sarah put together, I think is very helpful. Basically gauge their interest in doing that. Philosophically, I have a hard time with this because we'd be spending money outside the city. However, the alternative for cars in the subdivisions near there, the alternative for going to this intersection is driving on Stop 30 Road, which is 100% inside the city of Hendersonville, and has, we'll put it this way, concerns.
Yeah, it's a concern of mine.
So would the city be on the hook for 20%? Is that how I read that?
No, it's just, that's just for reference of one way we might be able to contribute to move the project forward, since we have appropriated some funds to improve this location.
And when was that $400,000 budgeted?
It's in this fiscal year.
So 500,000 from the state should cover everything, including the traffic signal.
It's sort of two projects. One is the temporary signal and then one is the long-term project.
Okay,
I wouldn't even venture a guess on long-term project. Would you?
There hasn't been a really good estimate provided. There's no design. The signal alone would be 200, I'm guessing. And then you have that widening and there's the box bridge there. I'm not, I think it would exceed that amount,
okay.
but I'm not positive. I don't have a solid estimate on that.
Be a good project. Much needed.
Yeah, and that's with the county, correct?
I'm sorry.
This is with the county, right? The intersection.
The 500, yes,
Yeah,
it
okay.
is, yes.
It's probably gonna cost more than 500.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just based on my experience when we've done this before.
Yeah.
I think
It'll
so.
do that.
And don't forget, it's a state highway.
Yeah.
So many reasons to be philosophically conflicted about this.
That's, you know, we're on the same page with that.
Would
We're on the
the
same page.
White House Utility District be contributing to this project?
We have a pretty good relationship with them and we've made some asks of them in the past for some projects. We would do the same here, is to see if they would maybe not contribute, but maybe when it comes time for land acquisition, they might help us out.
Okay,
Well, let us know on the October 6th meeting, just either through, here at our committee or, and I guess Eddie knows all this already, right?
He does.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, if you didn't, you might want to, when he gets back, call him and let him know that
Mhm.
y'all are rocking and rolling, so that's what I like. So, but after that, I guess we'll know more after that meeting on October 6th. Because that's his ward. So, good deal. All right. Any further discussion on this? We're not. You still got some. Let's go ahead now and identify, if you all would, just for the record and for our TV audience, that believe it or not, people do watch our meetings. I've always encouraged people to watch our committee meetings, because that's where the real work starts, instead of watching the big show, because that's better than all my children or One Life to Live, or it can put you to sleep if you need to go to sleep. So go ahead. So we'll just start.
Well, I will introduce myself. Thank you for hearing us tonight.
Sure.
I'm Marion Colville,
And I'm Holly Steele.
and we own our home together at 108 Ruby Drive, which is over near Anchor High Marina, in that area. And we're here tonight to follow up with some visits that Mr. Skidmore has been kind enough to make to our property regarding what is named as Rhodes Drive.
Rhodes Road, actually.
Rhodes Road.
I brought some maps if you guys want to see. You probably
And
already know where it is, but I
I'm
thought
familiar with
okay.
this one, yes, I am.
it's it's in horrible shape. And we're looking to see what kind of help we can get from the city of Hendersonville to make it once and for all passable and in good repair and dependable
Here you are.
for not only ourselves, but our neighbors across the yard from us also depend on that to use on a regular basis. And since Mr. Skidmore and I spoke, we have also gained 2 brand new neighbors that will be needing the use of that as well. Now, they're not here tonight. We don't intend on speaking for them, but this is new construction
Are
going on.
they, have you met them? Have you talked to them?
We did.
have, yeah.
Yeah, one of them, Kai, is building here with his family. They're going to break ground in about 2 months. And Mark and his family bought these 2 lots, and they're going to be breaking ground sometime he expects this year.
Mhm.
And we've been told that the city kind of abandoned this road years ago, kind of viewing it as a lake access dirt road. So we've been told numerous times that, it's just not considered a city road. But we've got new neighbors coming in. Our neighbors and my mom and I live in this house here. We all depend on that road. And the fact that it's gravel, we're seeing a lot of drainage come from Ruby Drive when it rains hard. And I brought some pictures of what it ends up looking like. And it becomes almost impassable. I have 4-wheel drive, so it doesn't bother me, but it definitely bothers my mom.
I've seen it.
And I think it's going to become an issue for our new neighbors as well. So it's kind of we're asking a couple things tonight. One is to get the drainage issue looked at. And the other is to ask the city to claim the road and maintain it, like we have been doing for the last 8.5 years. Our neighbors and my mom and I have all gone in on gravel and a spreader and the labor to do that and keep it passable.
We
I
got
brought-
desperate enough to do that over the last 6, 7, 8 months.
Yep.
So that was close to $1,000.
Yep, I brought some receipts
So-
with me and some pictures. So that's why we're here tonight, just to see where the city would stand on saying, hey, this is one of our roads. The Cove is becoming more and more beautiful. There's a brand new house here. There's another brand new house here. So it's definitely changed since the 50s.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more and more beautiful. Property values are going up.
Mhm.
And you have new taxpayers moving in, which is a good thing for the budget, I would think. So that's why we're here tonight. And I did bring some pictures with me so you guys could see what it looks like when it rains really hard. I'll pass those around to you. That's a picture of the truck.
And that's before the gravel that we put down.
Oh, okay.
that was the washout, and we got desperate enough that we took it upon ourselves,
There were 4 of us that all went in on
Trying
it,
to
households.
get
So
it so we could at least drive on it.
How long is this road?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not, I'm gonna say, Mark, what would you say? About 750 feet, something like
Yeah,
that?
I've visited this area. Of course, I know it real well. Obviously, it's the oldest section of Hendersonville, really. Yeah, that's a good shot. Before COVID, actually. So it's been over a year ago.
It's been a
at
bit,
least.
yeah.
And I think there was an email written to you to look into it. I don't know. I have to go back and look. And I'm gonna ask you, have you looked into it?
I have. This was brought up by a different homeowner in 2018.
Yeah.
I believe it was the first time I looked at it and went through the process of investigating and through Sumner County JS, it wasn't shown as right of way. And then I went through, I want to say, I don't think this area was platted. I think that was part of the issue. I don't think there was a plat for this.
what does that mean? I'm sorry.
Is that what we have here?
It was built
I don't
before,
remember.
the roads and the lot lines were determined
Holiday
before the
Heights.
county expected anything to really be submitted.
Okay.
Okay.
So which in the 40s and 50s.
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
but through all of the records that we had on file, it didn't show it as public right of way. And so then I went to the Corps and I spoke with them. I want to say it was Zachary. I was trying to pull it up. Can't remember his last name offhand, but they had indicated that it was Corps property and it was a lake access point.
They told us it was not core property. We're getting kind of
We
mixed
have a lot of
reviews here.
stories kind of floating around.
Really?
Yeah, the core
Because-
said it, they,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Well, they told me the same thing, that it was, because I told them that it was, this has been a couple of years ago, and then and I told them, yeah, well, it might be, but we still have an issue here. And then they told me that it was an access road for boats to come in
Mhm.
there. And I said, well, I've lived most of my life in Hendersonville
Thank you.
since the 70s, and I've yet to see a boat or a boat go down in
correct,
there.
yes.
I just haven't seen it. And I said, usually they go out, we're through Bell Cove down there, or they just go to the park.
They go to Rockland Recreation.
Well, and I
so
think part of
far.
that is the depth of the water there too,
Yeah.
comes to mind for folks.
I
I
there
don't
was
know,
that,
but
that was never an issue.
Yeah.
And then then COVID came through, and then the changing of the guard in Washington has changed some people. And that's the last that they ever got back in touch with me. They said they would, and they didn't. So I called, probably it was before the election. I called about it, and it had been about a year
Yeah,
ago,
absolutely.
and I never got any return on it. So that's as far as I was able to get. So
And John Bradley, I want to say it was probably about a year ago. He had asked me for the information that I had related to it. And I sent it to him.
I just need to kind of interject a little bit on that. I've communicated with John Bradley and I believe on your recommendation at one point. We have an incredible stream of emails, and that we're not gonna bore you with all of those tonight, but it does seem, quite honestly, that we're at a bit of an impasse on this situation as to how to get the responsibility taken for this road and the repair and maintenance of it for all of the neighbors in Ruby Drive, Cove. Not that we're trying to speak for anyone else that's not here tonight,
well,
but
no, I understand what you're saying.
we all depend on the ability to use that in good shape where we're not worried about damaging cars. And the other thing that does come to mind, and I don't know if it's something that has been considered, is that every time we get washed down from all these rains, that water goes straight into the lake. And in that water could easily be oils from Ruby Drive, could pick up any kind of sludge. If that's
Mayor, can I
an
see
issue
that,
that
Please.
that folks are, especially the Army Corps, might be concerned about, which I have no doubt that they are, that's something to be considered as well.
How many houses are using this, or how many
Right now,
Drive-
too.
two driveways are
Soon
connected to
be
this?
4.
Yeah.
4 houses connected to this road.
Yes, soon to be 4, yes, correct.
Add something that might help.
Yes.
So here's the hard part about this. It's very rare that somebody comes to the city and says, take this property that might not be yours and make it into a road. It's just, that's why we're all sort of trying to figure out, what do we do? So, and the first thing is, we have to figure out if it's our property. If it's not, we have to figure out how we get a hold of it. It'd be take ownership of it for us to then make it into a road. Then you've got to convince at least 7 board members that we should, and that we should take over that expense of it. That's we're all sitting here looking at each other going, what do we do?
Yeah, I was hoping that
Up in
John-
Gallatin, they said no one's ever paid taxes on that,
Yeah.
ever.
Okay, that's
Yes,
helpful.
that
So-
they've already
okay.
said that no one
I've
has
tried to do my homework.
claimed,
No one's ever paid
Ownership.
taxes on
Okay.
it.
So
of
my
it, yeah.
first guess is it probably was some sort of access point, maybe not for a launching ramp of the Corps of Engineers. That's my first guess. With the dam
Yeah.
being so close there, and with it, that would have been on the main channel. It wasn't, it would have been on the main channel, 100 years ago.
There's an old little thing right here where you can tell
Okay.
they hooked both up.
Okay,
So maybe
okay.
at one point,
Okay.
that's
A
yeah,
long time
a
Yeah,
long
and
time
I
ago.
could be very wrong.
yeah.
We've just got to figure out, how do we do something we've never done before?
I
So,
know that was the thing when I first went there a couple of years ago. That was what was,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's when I told her to talk to John, because
Uh-huh.
he would know maybe the legalities
Mhm.
Right.
of what we could and could not do. But I don't know. This is the
Yeah.
first one that ever has really.
Could we
come to me.
start with maybe getting on a to-do list to get that drainage situation looked at? At least start
Yeah.
there to kind of reduce the amount of water that comes down and how fast and how much.
That's-
If we could start there and maybe, start the conversation.
Well, I can tell you this, I don't know of a drainage project that has been down on Ruby ever.
That might be part of the,
I mean.
Well, and the
Right.
cove has grown, and the more buildings that go up, the landscape changes and the
Yeah.
water moves differently
Yeah.
over the years, so.
Are these 4 houses on Ruby Drive that access this?
Yeah,
Right-
I
right
can show
now,
you.
the 2 would be our neighbor across the lawn and us.
The 2 I'm circling
then
are the
2
new
are
guys that are
coming.
building.
Okay. And
This
they
is
have
us. and
access
this is
from
my
River
other-
Road or Ruby Drive?
They will have access
From Ruby
from Ruby
and
Okay.
this road.
and Rhodes Drive,
Yep.
Rhodes Road.
I don't know about, I can't speak.
Sure.
I'm new. I'm brand new, but I do ask lots of questions. Can we just forego a road and fix the drainage? Would that make everyone happy?
I
Since
guess I
there's
would have to
already
say it
roads
depends on what,
for the houses. I don't know if we
except
need
for
to.
us
Except for our neighbors who have
and our neighbors.
apartments below on the bottom level of their house. There's no other way to get there and they Airbnb that out. They
don't-
have a cement,
Mini driveway.
Well, that's not,
path.
I appreciate you telling me that,
It's
but
not
I,
legal.
that's right.
When
can't
you
do
live in
that.
your house, you can. That's what I was told.
I mean,
Well,
If you're
if
the
they-
primary resident.
If they're there, when the residents are there, they're okay.
That's
They are.
correct, and they
Okay.
are.
Okay.
they are.
Okay.
Wow.
So
We checked into the
they're
laws.
Put him on
legal.
the list.
Everybody's
They're
fine.
legal.
Well, I appreciate
Yeah,
that, Lee. That
absolutely.
might be an option that we figure out, is to provide access to a couple houses and fix the drainage, but not access. I'm open to any ideas and trying to figure this out.
I don't know. I think what we need to do is at our, now I will tell you this, the drainage really needs to be looked at because in fact, I've probably got some pictures on my old phone that reflect the damage that some of the, where they put the pipes in the old day, I should say in the olden days, is broke. You can tell that they're collapsed. Because you got to remember, that's been there since the 50s, and I can
Yeah.
guarantee you that since the 50s, nothing's really been looked at. I can
Not
tell you
over there. I
And
think you're
and
exactly
I'm
right.
afraid it would be 50 more years waiting for the Corps to sign
I
off.
would venture to
on
agree
it.
with you on that.
Well,
So
they're
that's
gonna deny
a concern.
that they have
And
any.
they actually
have any-
have.
They already
They
have
have,
to
yeah.
us, yeah.
They've denied any kind of responsibility and or ownership of that drive piece of land, which by the way, does go down beyond the gravel, is also land that we've kept up all these years mowing it. When our guy comes to mow, we have him do that whole section beyond that gravel. And we'd also like to know who owns that,
The Corps,
because
guarantee it.
Yeah.
What do you
I-
find?
It's not plotted, like she said, so that it doesn't give you an ownership, and that's likely why there's no taxes paid on it. If the Corps owns it, they wouldn't have anything to pay.
Without lines there, it means it's not non-taxable property.
Right.
And that means either the city owns a utility district or the Corps of Engineers. We don't own it. Utility district doesn't own it. It's Corps of Engineers.
That's,
I had gone down to their office in 2018 and spoken with them. And it wasn't written, of course, but it was verbalized that yes, that would be core property.
Oh,
With, when I went down there with the information that he's looking at and all of the other records associated with it, just, there's no indication it's city.
And good news about that is that the city maintains and we lease some core property. So we have a precedent here that we have done that before. It's park property. This isn't a park, but we do have a precedent here. Not to say that we want to go down that road, but we know how to do that.
well, can we have,
that's encouraging. I think at this
Slightly,
we
yes.
like
turn that part at the end of the drive into a park.
a mini park. We could put a bench up
Yep,
there.
with your name on it. Whatever
That's
needs to
pretty
be
good.
done.
Pretty funny.
If that's what you guys want, we'll do it.
And a couple plants.
that's pretty funny.
We do have
What
deer that go through there. I could
Oh,
go
don't
on.
even say that. That's not- We've got that ordinance tonight, too, about that. Well, y'all are just hitting all the right buttons tonight. Here's one thing that I know that needs to be done is have Trace, if that's okay, if there's no objection from the committee, there's no need for a motion. We can just ask him to go down there and look. Can we keep those photographs? Is that
Absolutely.
okay? And if we could give that to Trace to take a look at, because who knows, it's getting fall.
To address the drainage.
Right, to look at it
We could get
and
paper
see what needs to be done on that, and that'll be the first step, and in the meantime, we'll get with John about it, and our city attorney, and also we'll try to figure out, because somebody's got to take responsibility for it. So,
I should let everybody.
We appreciate your time tonight.
Yes, thank you so
And,
much.
We do.
Contact you.
Well, thank you for
you
bringing
still
it
have
to
my
our
number and
attention.
card?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have your
Appreciate it.
contact
we
information.
can come to some sort of
Keep all-
resolution.
This is a
Sure.
this is a head scratcher.
I'm confident.
It's-
Well, we knew that coming in tonight, but we had to start somewhere.
Well, you've done the
And,
right thing by alerting it to us,
Okay.
in an official manner. We can sit here all night and every alderman in town can go in there and look at it and say, yeah, I see a problem.
Mhm.
What are you gonna do about it? I don't know. But now since you've officially said something to us, we can now take a look at it and see. There was a, I don't know, I was looking at my mail and I wasn't able to go due to one of my family members she wasn't well that night, but I know they had, but I don't think it was any issue dealing with this kind of thing, just some setbacks. I can't remember their name. They've got a long name or a funny name. They were requiring some setbacks.
Oh,
Oh,
they're variants.
yes.
That's Kai. He's
That's
one of our
Kai.
neighbors. He
Yes,
and
I
his
know.
wife are.
We
yeah.
struggle with his name too, and
Yeah,
we've
and
been
I-
honest about that. It's.
I don't even know it.
Brzezinski
It ends
or-
with a ski.
Yeah.
We
I just-
apologize. We're not trying to be
No, I don't
disrespectful,
know.
but
I just say, hey, or like,
I believe
Nice
he
to
got his
see you.
variant.
yes, he did.
yeah, he.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we were
attended
there.
that meeting.
We went to that
Okay.
meeting as well.
Yeah.
And I was hate not going, but they, the planning department gave me what happened. And I didn't really think, I said, well, I go, Mom, well, my heart's still messing up. So I waited with her until it finally settled down. So I was not able to go to that. It was on a Monday. I remember that. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and let's just do this on Ruby, get Trace and then let him get back to you and then just send us an email on it and then we'll get back.
So what would be the best way to follow up?
You'll hear from me.
Okay.
So yeah, and then
Right.
I'll let you know what Trace does, and then I'll get back to y'all too.
That sounds good to
Well,
me.
thank you for your time.
Sure,
We
and I'm glad-
appreciate
It's
it.
a head scratcher. Thank y'all for helping us understand it.
The pictures will help.
We'll try to help you understand it as much
Yeah.
as we don't
Yeah.
understand.
It was worse in person, but
it's kind of a little-
anyway, you can drive on it, you'd understand.
Or try to drive on it, yeah. But thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, it's good to see you again and nice
Good
to
to
meet you
see
in
you.
Nice to
person.
meet you, Mr. Skidmore.
Yeah, I've talked to you on the phone,
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
not in person.
All righty, we'll get out of your way.
That's okay. We've got.
Thank you very much.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
I got a question.
Sorry to squeeze through you guys. Have a wonderful night. Thank you. We won't take up any more of your time. We thank you so much.
Thank you.
Look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Okay. Once you let the adjourn
Alderman
first.
Skidmore.
No,
Chairman
yes, once you
Skidmore,
let the
excuse
adjourn.
me.
Okay.
Can I speak before you adjourn?
We're not adjourning. We
Okay.
got still much. No,
Oh,
we
okay, you've got more stuff?
to do,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
All right, Mayor, did you like to? Okay,
Thank you.
Oh, me.
yeah,
I wanted to come tonight to make sure everyone was aware that at least in my ward, we've been having some issues with our garbage pickup again.
okay,
And for several months, I didn't have significant communication or issues with it. And then in the past month, we haven't had a very smooth garbage pickup. And we've had whole neighborhoods missed 3 times. And then there's been little issues that are picking back up that seem to be resolved on some people that I assume are on the hot list. They thought that had been resolved and then now it's happening again. And I'm concerned because we are getting into the holidays where there's a higher level of volume and it feels like we're moving in the wrong direction already. And I don't want to go back to where we were in December.
okay. We did talk a little bit about that earlier tonight, but I don't
I'm
mind.
sorry, I
if
didn't
Oh,
make
that's
it.
okay. No, I understand you've got other things that you've got to do. But wanted to let you know that we did talk about
Mhm.
things. Do you want to let her know again, just by, if it's
I'd
okay
like-
with the
I'd like
committee?
to hear too, because I'm in the same boat we were
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, so Waste Pro has been having some staffing issues, similar to everyone else that's trying to hire right now. And so they've had a lot of temps come in. They've had a lot of turnover. And so, yes, they've had an issue with drivers being out as well, which means they have less trucks running. And so they have been having to push some entire roadways, some entire neighborhoods to the following day.
That was COVID related with the drivers, correct?
It is COVID related
Okay.
staffing, yes. And so even when they bring in temps, unfortunately, they're not familiar with the routes.
Sure.
And so they're working through these issues. I believe Lori with Waste Pro is going to be providing us some documentation on the efforts that they are making to restaff and provide more consistency. I haven't received that yet. but we should be receiving something soon. They have been offering sign-on bonuses, things like that, similar to, I think, okay, I don't remember exactly how much, but similar to even the restaurants and Amazon, everyone's trying to hire right now. So we are working with them, trying to improve things. While I was out, Rod and Jesse had been working with Waste Pro, and so now at the end, there are updates on our website every day, which I think has been helpful.
It's
at
been
least
great.
It's been
It's been
really
very
communication.
helpful.
And we're working to improve our
Mhm.
communication, because I think that helps at least with expectancy. People know what they can expect.
Disappointment is based on unmet expectations.
Yeah.
So if you can tell people what to expect,
Yeah.
at least they know.
Yes.
Instead of getting all the phone calls, well, should I put it back out tomorrow? Are they gonna come tomorrow?
Yes. So
It's really
contractually,
helpful.
a miss is not contractually
I
a
know.
miss for 24 hours. They work very hard to beat that 24-hour timeline. So you can tell your constituents that in the
I,
majority of cases, they will be back before those
Yeah.
24
I
hours. which is
wish that
something.
we had a structure where a miss at sundown was a miss and the fee went up every 24 hours rather than just a flat fee and this is what it is. And that there could be a lesser, or I don't know if it should be less or more, a fee for the kind of service oriented issues like not putting the cans back or not getting all the garbage, and doesn't have to be the same dollar amount, but there could be more than one way to get fines and to provide for better service, but I don't know that we have any openings to renegotiate. I am, of course, very sympathetic to the situation that we are all in with trying to maintain our business while people are getting sick and having to quarantine and everything. And that is, that's valid. I'm sympathetic to it once, maybe even twice. Unfortunately, I think this is the second time that they've been behind because of sickness that they've experienced with their staff. So that already is two. They have a flex team. They need to bring, last week was better. So I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that Wednesday and Thursday go well for my ward. But I'm concerned. We're moving into the higher volume time. And they have consistently been inconsistent with their level of service. Would you guys agree to
Oh, yeah.
that?
Good way to put it.
So we have to do what we can to manage them. And I know that you'll do everything that you can. I really appreciate it. I just want everybody to be aware that we're having problems in 5 and I guess in 4 too.
Yeah, we had whole roads missed Monday,
Mhm.
and I appreciate Rod was the one that contacted me, so I really appreciate that. And he'd already put it out on the website and people
Mhm.
are looking, so
Yeah.
I didn't get any real complaints over it.
I
Did you
did.
notice the trash, because we had spoken about this before.
Mhm.
Did you notice any improvement from the last time that you
Yes,
noticed it?
I can't remember. One week it was one neighborhood on Wednesday. The next week it was that neighborhood and then another neighborhood on Thursday. They must be at the end of the route because they seem to always be the 2 neighborhoods that
Did
get
they get or miss?
the whole neighborhood. Well, they do it the following day, so technically it's not a miss. And I appreciate them doing it the following day because, I had a neighborhood went 21 days without garbage pickup. So I really do appreciate that. I don't know where we were in that process, but last week
Oh, then two.
they didn't miss a whole neighborhood. So, okay. So yeah, it did get better. There were some misses, but not hundreds.
Mayor, has our website gone live to where the public can report misses?
I'm gonna turn to this guy over here. Yes, it has. So we've updated the website so that on the bottom, there's a scrolling news feed, and you can click on that and see if the trash is up to date, current. And there's a place where a link that you can click on to report a miss, where you give your name, your address, if you miss curbside or back door, and submit. In addition to that, there's probably 7 or 8 other places that we've highlighted on the website, just so you can't miss it. And that's in an effort for us to track and report on misses. So that's, contractually, we have the ability to fine based on misses, but if we don't know of the misses, that's where it gets tough, because we don't have a person following behind trash service to see who got missed and who didn't. So that's a great tool for residents to be able to use to report a miss, is they can go right to the website, click on it, fill in their name. It's all fillable. It's very easy. And I will give an update. Waste Pro did do a recruitment. They did a job fair on Saturday. And right now they're offering $2,500 sign-on bonuses, and they're offering $1,500 if an existing employee refers someone who gets hired.
Put my name down.
They said, and I think additionally, if you go 2 years
Put me down.
without an incident, they're doing like $10,000 bonuses if you're the driver, and a $5,000 if you're a co-driver. The job fair that they had on Saturday, when I was speaking with Lori about it, she said, pre-COVID, they would have hundreds of potential candidates show up. They had 5 show up. So they have some potential candidates they hope to hire, but they're continually be hampered by people who don't really seem to be interested in getting the job there. So I think the daily updates are helping. We're also asking them to put together an electronic FAQ that we can also disseminate out, so people know what is allowable under our trash services, because a lot of what they do is they pick up a lot of non-compliant trash, and they spend their time doing that. But it's easier for them to do that than to deal with people calling in misses because they're out of compliance. So I've asked Lori to put some information together that we can share with Bowman and that we can share with the residents, because all that we really hear is there's trash missed, and we don't really see the back end of what's going on and what they face day to day. So we're putting together a packet that we can share with Bowman and put on our website.
Okay. Well, that's good. I did not know that, but I'm glad to hear it.
I appreciate all of you working on this, and I'm glad I'm not on this committee,
Yeah.
because
Well, I
I don't think
appreciate
I would have the
I
patience
appreciate your
for
kind
it.
words. I mean, for the committee, I do. I appreciate that. And,
Thank you.
but yeah, I didn't want you to think that, when you told me that, I was like, I just was not gonna do,
Oh, no,
just,
I
or
didn't-
just let it go.
I didn't think that
yeah.
at all.
I didn't
Not
want
at
you to
all.
think
I
so.
knew you realize how serious it.
Well, it is. You're an
It is, it
alderman.
can
You
be.
represent a ward, and I
Well,
know what it's like.
Hundreds.
Right.
I mean, it's not 10 people on a cul-de-sac. It's hundreds of people. That's a lot of garbage.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Anything else in your board, like any kind of road problems that anybody's alerted you to, or potholes that need to be filled or anything?
We've had some drainage issues, but nothing that I think needs
Discussion
attention. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're
I'll be in there in a second.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Mayor.
Thank you. We were approached by Hendersonville Hospital by HCA about an eventual expansion that they're committed to. I don't know if that's 2 years down the road or if it's at 10, 12, 15 years down the road. One of the issues that they have is that our fire hall property backs right up to one of their access roads. And what they anticipate is not only is there a dock very close to that access road now, but a future building, there'll probably be a dock there as well. So it's just be difficult to get large trucks in and out. They have offered to do a survey and then to make us a reasonable offer on the backyard of the fire hall. So we talked with Chief Bush, and he said really all they use that is to mow. There's
Yeah.
really no use for it. And so they're gonna get us a survey and show us some lines and then make us an offer on that. And I told them, I said, it's gotta be the appraised value. We can't sell for less than that.
Right.
And they understand that. Their initial plans are probably gonna go a little bit slower, but I said, let's get this done. We don't want to be the ones slowing down your plans to expand.
Right.
So let's go ahead and get this done so we know we're ready to go. You can just take off. So we should hear something from them.
Wow, that
probably
is
next couple
good.
weeks.
Good news.
So it's not even, it's less than three
What,
quarters.
are
of the
they
year.
just wanting to use that for their equipment or did they say?
Probably what they would do is they would create sort of a four-way intersection there with very wide turning.
I got
So
you.
if they needed to, and then also be they would expand the parking lot on the south side.
Yeah,
So that they can back in and back out without having to worry about backing into traffic.
that makes a lot of sense for them. And us getting the money makes a lot of sense too. So
And I
that's a
told-
win-win.
I think so. I told them we're gonna want a couple feet off of the pavement in the back, just to make sure everything is safe. But if all we're doing is mowing that property and it benefits them, and then we get some property tax revenue
Yeah.
off it, we're certainly interested.
Well, that's good. That's really good news. Please keep us updated on that. That's over there in Ward 6, I believe, that there, young man.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Everybody happy?
All right.
They just opened a new floor over there. I think it's this week,
Oh, my
or
Lord.
last week, a new surgery. Let me say, I'd be remiss if I didn't follow up on my colleague Eddie's comments about Ward 6, about Stop 30. I
Yes,
think
sir.
last month when y'all met, and I had to leave early, but anyway, he brought it up and he had a gentleman come in. Have y'all done anything? Has anything progress been made on it or?
Not yet, no, I have to, I have to pull the information of whatever is in the tip, if there was any projects submitted and see if there's any possibility of revising that.
Okay.
As far as the signage, Trace and his guys can put up some of the signage that was recommended,
Yeah.
but they haven't been able to get to that quite yet.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just curious because I know when I was here,
Yeah,
he brought it up and he had this gentleman who was
yeah.
very nice.
Oh, yeah, he really was very nice and very helpful.
Well, and legitimate concerns as
Sure,
well.
added insight on what's going on, but that's good. I was wondering about the signs because I know the process that you've got to go through, so it might take a little bit on that, on the
Yeah.
signs.
But yes, it is on my list.
Good, I just told him I'd follow up on
Thank you.
All right, anything do we need to follow up or just come to your
I
attention?
think we've covered everything tonight.
Okay, great.
I would like to congratulate Sarah Locke on becoming our new Public Works Director.
Thank you.
We are excited. It's good news. You've been with the department for a while and we're just really grateful that you've been promoted and you accepted the position, and we will we'll get plenty of good things going forward. So thank you.
it. I
Thank you.
echo that, Lee. That's great.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I'm just glad you're there and decided to stay with us.
Thanks. Yes.
So I already
Happy to
know
be
about all
here.
that.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, I already know how good she is. Trust
Now
me,
get on,
I've
now get
been
on
in
Stop
there.
30.
Yeah, she's
That's gonna be a little bit of a process,
I know,
unfortunately.
I was going like congratulations, but condolences as well. 'Cause it's
Y'all
gonna
haven't
be-
adjourned yet, have
You
you?
just keep me in your
We have,
prayers.
yeah, we're getting ready to.
We
So-
will.
All right, we will do that. And as always, if there's anything that we can do as a committee to help you, call us. and
Thank you.
We will help you. I just need a motion.
I am ready to adjourn.
All right, and adjourning it about what, 6:03.
6:03.
Good deal.
Thank
We're
you.
adjourned.
All right.
Just alone?
He stops it, and I think we're getting ready to. If he's in there, if he's in his room, he's good at his work, so we'll just have to sit here for a minute.
There he is.
There, we're getting ready. Yep, 6:04. There we are. We're done.
Anybody
No.
right here?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
That's a wrap.
We're done. That's a wrap, yeah.
Who put these numbers in it? Did Jess do that?
I think
I don't
so,
know.
aren't they
I want
nice?
to congratulate
Yeah.
somebody because, I didn't get out of the fourth grade because I couldn't do my ABCs. But now I can go to 1 to 10 easy.
Very impressive.
So I thought maybe he might have done that.
He brings a lot of organization to the city.
Yeah,
he
It's
does.
nice.
And that is good for a city to be organized. I mean, I had some shelves and things in my garage that I had, and after about the third election, I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to dump a bite. I was supposed to, you know what I did? I've got a little fire pit out in the back. I never called the fire department, tell them I'm gonna do some, I just went down there and I threw all that stuff.